Hi, my name is Marquise. I'm going to be doing some Bible reading today, starting from the first book of Genesis. Um, I want to do this because I want to reflect on my reading journey and practicing spoken word out loud. So here we go. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth grew to be formless and waste, and there was darkness upon the surface of the watery deep. And God's active force was moving to and fro over the surface of the waters. And God proceeded to say, "Let light come to be." Then there came to be light. That God saw that the light was good. And God brought about a division between the light and the darkness. And God began calling the light day, but the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, and for a first day. And God went on to say, "Let an expanse come to be in between the waters, and let a dividing occur between the waters and the waters." Then God proceeded to make the expanse and to make a division between the waters that should be beneath that expanse and the waters that should be above the expanse. And it came to be so. And God began to call the expanse heaven, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a second day. And God went on to say, "Let the waters under the heavens be brought together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it came to be so. And God began calling the dry land earth, but the bringing together of the waters he called seas. Further, God saw that it was good. God went on to say, "Let the earth cause grass to shoot forth, vegetation bearing seed, fruit trees yielding fruit according to their kinds, and the seed of which is in upon the earth." And it came to be so. And the earth began to put forth grass, and vegetation bearing seed according to its kind, and trees yielding fruit, the seed of which is in it according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a third day. And God went on to say, "Let luminaries come to be in the expanse of the heavens to make a division between the day and the night. And they must serve as signs and for seasons and for days and years. And they must serve as luminaries in the expanse of the heavens to shine upon the earth." And it came to be so. God proceeded to make the two great luminaries, the greater luminary for dominating the day, and the lesser luminary for dominating the night, and also the stars. Thus God put them in the expanse of the heaven to shine upon the earth, and to dominate by day and by night, and to make a division between the light and the darkness. The God saw that it was good, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a fourth day. And God went on to say, "Let the waters swarm forth, a swarm of living souls, and let flying creatures fly over the earth upon the face of the expanse of the heavens." God proceeded to create the great sea monsters and every living soul that moves about, which the waters swarmed forth according to their kinds, and every winged flying creature according to his kind. And God got to see that it was good. With that, God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and become many, and fill the waters in the sea basins, and let the flying creatures become many in the earth." And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, a fifth day. And God went on to say, "Let the earth put forth living souls according to their kind, domestic animals and moving animals, and wild beasts of the earth according to its kind." And it came to be so. And God proceeded to make the wild beasts of the earth according to his kind, and the domestic animal according to his kind, and every moving animal of the ground according to his kind. And God got to see that it was good. God went on to say, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have in subjection the fish of the sea, and the flying creatures of the heavens, and the domestic animals, and all the earth, and every moving animal that is moving upon the earth." And God proceeded to create the man in his image. In God's image, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Further, God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and become many, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have in subjection the fish of the sea, and the flying creatures of the heavens, and every living creature that is moving upon the earth. And God went on to say, here I have given to you all vegetation bearing seed, which is on the surface of the whole earth, and every tree on which there is the fruit of a tree bearing seed. To you let it serve as food, and to every wild beast of the earth, and to every flying creature of the heavens, and to everything moving upon the earth, in which there is life as a soul, I have given all green vegetation for food. And it came to be so. After that, God saw everything he had made, and look, it was very good. And there came to be evening. There came to be morning, a sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth and all their army came to their completion. And by the seventh day, God came to be the completion of his work that he had made. And he proceeded to rest on the seventh day from all his work that he had made. And God proceeded to bless the seventh day and make it sacred, because on it he has been resting from all his work that God has created for the purpose of making. This is a history of the heavens and the earth and the time of their being created, and the day that Jehovah God made earth and heaven. Now there was as yet no bush of the field found in the earth, and no vegetation of the field that was as yet sprouting, because Jehovah God had not made it rain upon the earth, and there was no man to cultivate the ground. But a mist would go up from the earth, and it watered the entire surface of the ground. And Jehovah God proceeded to form the man out of dust from the ground, and to blow into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man came to be a living soul. Further, Jehovah God planted a garden in Eden toward the east. There he put the man whom he had formed. Thus Jehovah God made to grow out of the ground every tree desirable to one's sight, good for food, and also the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and bad. Now there was a river issuing out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it began to be parted, and it became as it were 4 heads. The first one's name is Pishon. It is the one encircling the entire land of Haviah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There also are the bdellium gum and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one encircling the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. It is the one going to the east of Assyria, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. And Jehovah God proceeded to take the man and settle him in the Garden of Eden, to cultivate it and to take care of it. And Jehovah God also laid this command upon the man: from every tree of the garden you may eat to satisfaction, but as for the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat from it, for in the day you eat from it, you will positively die. And Jehovah God went on to say, it is not good for the man to continue by himself. I'm going to make a helper for him as a complement of him. Now Jehovah God was forming from the ground and every wild beast of the field, and every flying creature of the heavens. And he began bringing them to the man to see what he would call each one. Whatever the man would call it, each living soul, that was his name. So the man was calling the names of all the domestic animals and of the flying creatures of the heavens and of every wild beast of the field. But for man there was found no helper as a complement of him. Hence Jehovah God had a deep sleep fall upon the man, and while he was sleeping, he took one of his ribs and then closed up the flesh over its place. And Jehovah God proceeded to build the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and to bring her to the man. And the man said, this is at last bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. This one will be called woman, because from man this one was taken. That is why a man will leave his father and his mother, and he must stick to his wife, and they must become one flesh. and both of them continue to be naked. And both of them continue to be naked, the man and his wife, and yet they did not become ashamed. Hmm. Now the serpent proved to be the most cautious of all the wild beasts of the field that Jehovah God had made. So I began to say to the woman, is it really so that God said you must not eat from every tree of the garden? At this the woman said to the serpent, of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but as for eating of the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, God hath said, you must not eat from it. No, you must not touch it, that you do not die. At this the serpent said to the woman, you positively will not die, for God knows that in the very day of your eating from it, your eyes are bound to be opened, and you are bound to be like God, knowing good and bad. Consequently, the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was something to be longed for to the eyes. Yes, the tree was desirable to look upon. So she began taking of its fruit and eating it. Afterwards, she gave some also to her husband, went with her, and he began eating it. Then the eyes of both of them became opened, and they began to realize that they were naked. Hence they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. Later they heard the voice of Jehovah God walking in the garden about the breezy part of the day, and the man and his wife went into hiding from the face of Jehovah God and between the trees of the garden. And Jehovah God kept calling to the man and saying to him, where are you? Finally he said, your voice I heard in the garden, but I was afraid because I was naked, and so I hid myself. At that he said, who told you that you were naked? From the tree from which I command you not to eat, have you eaten? And the man went on to say, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, and so I ate. With that Jehovah God said to the woman, what is it? What is this you have done? What is this you have done? To this the woman replied, the serpent, it deceived me, and so I ate. And Jehovah God proceeded to say to the serpent, because you have done this thing, you are the cursed one out of all the domestic animals and out of all the wild beasts of the field. Upon your belly you will go, and dust is what you will eat all the days of your life. And I shall put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He will bruise you in the head, and you will bruise him in the heel. Hmm. To the woman he said, I shall greatly increase the pain of your pregnancy, and birth pains you will bring forth children, and your craving will be for your husband, and he will dominate you. And to Adam he said, because you listened to your wife's voice and took to eating from the tree concerning which I gave you this command, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground on your account. In pain you will eat its produce in the days of your life, all the days of your life. And thorns and thistles it will grow for you, and you must eat the vegetation of the field. In the sweat of your face you will eat the bread. You will eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return. After this, Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she had to become the mother of everyone living. And Jehovah God proceeded to make long garments of skin for Adam and for his wife, and to clothe them. And Jehovah God went on to say, "Here the man has become like one of us, in knowing good and bad. And now, in order that he may not put his hand out and actually take fruit also from the tree of life, and eat and live to time indefinite." With that, Jehovah God put him out of the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he had been taken. And so he drove the man out and posted at the east of the Garden of Eden the cherubs, and the flaming blade of a sword that was turning itself continually to guard the way to the tree of life. Now Adam had intercourse with Eve, his wife, and she became pregnant. In time she gave birth to Cain and said, "I have produced a man with the aid of Jehovah." Later she again gave birth to his brother Abel. And Abel came to be a herder of sheep, but Cain became a cultivator of the ground. And it came about as the expiration of some time that Cain proceeded to bring some fruits of the ground as an offering to Jehovah. But as for Abel, he too brought some firstlings of his flock, even their fatty pieces. Now while Jehovah was looking with favor upon Abel and his offering, he did not look with any favor upon Cain and upon his offering. And Cain grew hot with great anger, and his countenance began to fall. At this Jehovah said to Cain, "Why are you hot with anger, and why has your countenance fallen? If you turn to doing good, will there not be an exaltation? But if you do not turn to doing good, there is sin crouching at the entrance, and for you is its craving. And will you, for your part, get the mastery over it?"